Not. Ladies and gentlemen, it is Thursday night, and you are doing the only correct thing you can do on Thursday night, and that is hanging out with the American Sci-Fi Classics Track on our quarantine panel. Today, we're going to talk about the legendary Weird Al Yankovic. And joining me to do so are a number of people who tonight are daring to be stupid. And what I'm going to get everybody to do is introduce yourself, tell me your favorite Weird Al song, and then we're going to get this thing going. Starting with one internet to my left, James Palmer.
Hello, my favorite Weird Al song is The Saga Begins. It's right there in my chat name. I write science fiction and pulp adventure and do lots of nerdy stuff with some of these fine gentlemen you see here tonight at Dragon Con. And shenanigans ensue.
Correct. Two internets to my left. Kevin.
Hey, everybody. Yes, I'm Kevin. I'm a podcaster. I do a show called The Flopcast. There's the address. And something of a comedy musician occasionally myself, and a longtime Weird Al fan. My favorite song, I'm going to go, it could be different at any time, but I'm going to go from the Even Worse album. I love the Police style parody, Velvet Elvis.
Ah.
He's so lovely. He's so great.
So 1, 2, 3 internets away from me. Kyle.
Oh, me. I am Kyle McCraw. I have no verifiable internet presence to speak of, and that's the way I like to keep it. I am here. I am a fan of Weird Al, have been since I was but a wee lad in the awkward vestiges of middle school. Though, to be honest with you, it is unfair to ask someone to pick a favorite Weird Al song, because aren't they all just the best?
And also unfair to ask you to do it with 2 minutes notice. So
yeah,
you're welcome.
And that, because, you know, that's my horoscope for today. But I'm going to have to go with Germs, just for the fun of it.
Sure. Yeah. And not leastly, one internet south of me, Mr. Mike Faber.
Hey, everybody. How are you? My name is Mike Faber. I host the Earth Station 1 podcast, and I also am the Grand Poobah of the ESO network. And we talk about all things geek on our network. And we've been podcasting now as ESO network for over 10 years. And Earth Station 1 is going to be in April, starting our 14th season. So we have been going for quite some time.
That's 100 years in regular years.
Oh, exactly.
Yes.
Oh, trust me. I have the gray hairs to do it, because I actually was. So it's pretty interesting, because I've been listening to Weird Al since probably 83. Where I grew up in Maryland, there was an all-comedy radio station, and they brought in Dr. Demento. And part of the Dr. Demento tour that he was doing, Weird Al was featured in it. And it was his first album. And it was amazing. So I got to meet, in one night, Weird Al Yankovic. And I also got to meet the wonderful doctor himself.
It
was pretty
am
awesome.
So jealous. My jealousy. Here's my brief.
His head is exploding. It's exploding. So let me give you before you do, my favorite songs. Favorite song is, of course, Dare to Be Stupid, because it's the best Devo song they never wrote.
Yes.
And
yeah.
And also, I've already told my wife, when I die, I want her to play I'll Be Mellow When I'm Dead. So I've already asked that.
Mercy. That got to me, Mike.
I try to. I really try. You know.
But my favorite Weird Al song is "One More Minute" because the whole song is great, but I would rather spend eternity eating shards of broken glass than spend one more minute with you. That song, I believe, came out when I was in college, and because it was college, I felt that way and probably had other people feeling that way about me. But never mind all that. I started listening to Weird Al before Eat It.
Before he was weird? No.
Yes. No, he was, I don't think there were quotes around that first album. I don't know. But I was listening to Weird Al on the Dr. Demento show, and then Eat It got on MTV and Friday Night Videos, and everybody started loving Weird Al. And I was like super gatekeeping. I'm like, no, thank you. I was listening to Weird Al on cassette late at night on Sundays, but way before you were, sir and madam. And now everybody is super into Weird Al, as you should be. If you're not, come on. Tell me about your first experiences, your first exposure to Weird Al. Mike, you talked a little bit about it already. James.
He first exposed himself to me. Now, wait a minute.
Wait a minute.
Show us on the
rating
doll
on
exactly
show?
what
What
happened.
is it?
It's one of those things. Like I don't really remember like a single moment. Like he was kind of already there. He was kind of all the pop culture stuff we all loved back in the 80s. Like he was always part of that. Like he's the 80s to me. I remember going to there's a little local AM station in our town, and for some reason they were giving stuff away, and for some reason my mom knew about it, and we drove up there. It's up on the top of this steep hill, and they were giving like little Shotski crap little prize packs things. In that was a little 33 RPM of Like a Surgeon.
Ooh,
But I already
awesome.
knew who he was by then. And I, like a friend of mine in high school would record the tapes and stuff, and I would get them. And yeah, I went and backtracked when I was started buying cassette tapes, because that's how old we are. Going backtracking and getting his older stuff. We got Weird Al, and I think Even Worse had already been out by that point. Just backtracked, got all this stuff, but he was just kind of always there in the background somewhere.
Kevin.
Yeah, I mean, it was Dr. Demento. I was listening to the Dr. Demento show, when I was a kid, and that was, pre-Eat It. That was when those first, before he was putting out albums, he was getting songs played on Dr. Demento. The doctor discovered him, and then so it was, Ricky, and another one, Rides the Bus, and Stop Dragging My Car Around, all the stuff from the first album that were huge hits on Demento. So that's how I knew him, before the superstardom that came with MTV and Eat It and such. And then my very first concert I ever went to was Weird Al in 1985, the Stupid Tour.
Oh
wow.
Let's go to Kyle.
Well, My first exposure to Weird Al, at least that I can remember, was actually seeing the TV commercials for the album Running with Scissors. Like, you remember when they used to put commercials on TV, right? Or when we used to watch TV and had to suffer through them. But anyway, so that was kind of my era, was Running with Scissors. And I didn't have any of the albums, but a guy I went to middle school with at the time, he had bought a bunch of them and allowed me to borrow them for a time. So I kind of absorbed Running with Scissors and Alapalooza and several others. Just all at once. Wow. Just soaked it up just as much as I could.
Yeah. The first album I bought with my own money was in 3D.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah. Mine was Elton John's Greatest Hits, so you got one up on me.
Well. But the first that's a good one. The first cassette I bought when I moved away from home to college was the UHF soundtrack.
You're so
And
young, Joe. You're so young.
Helped me get through college, maybe. I don't know. Probably. And then I also bought CDs. I don't really have a story for buying Weird Al CDs, but let's do this. What? Mike, tell us you already told us your first encounter with Weird Al.
Yes, I did. But it's interesting. After I first saw him that time, I did not actually see him in concert again until I was in my mid-20s. I was living in Seattle already.
Oh.
And so it was at least 83. And so probably about 11 years later, 12 years later. And it was like to see him in concert, like at this point in his career, gave me a full new respect for him. He did more costumes in costume than Cher does. And
speaking of Elton John,
exactly. That's when Al came out in the fat suit. He he came out as Michael Jackson. He came out as a surgeon, and all the different costumes, and it was just like, oh my god, that man works his butt off on stage. And it was and then the videos he posted between the songs and everything to give them a chance to change was just awesome.
Yeah, the orchestration of the Weird Al live show when he does the full scale concert, it's theatrical. It's like it's a fully choreographed theatrical production with the lights and props and video and costumes. And yeah, Mike, it's just so brilliantly orchestrated in that. Yeah, they've got those videos to run to accommodate the band running on and off stage all night.
Yeah,
between every song.
A lot of the videos. In my concert experience with Weird Al, it's probably similar every time he does it. It's clips of him showing up in cameos on everything.
Oh yeah.
I haven't felt this bad since we saw that Weird Al concert. Or from the Naked Gun.
Because I
love that scene
on the Stupid tour back in '85. The only he wore two costumes the whole night, and nothing too elaborate. He put on the red jacket for Eat It, and he put on the surgeon's suit for Like a Surgeon, and that was it. There was no videos, two costumes.
Well, the real Weird Al was killed anyway in 1987. So.
As we all learned this, as we learned.
It's a good rumor.
We figured that out.
Completely accurate new biopic. Yes.
Yeah. So about that, actually, because it's kind of funny how that all ties together. But during the Alpocalypse tour, I went to see him live, and one of the vignettes, one of the video bits, was Weird, the Al Yankovic story. But this was long before anybody had talked. Like, it was just a vignette in the concert. And getting to see that actually made, that was just that kind of the icing on the cake, I think, for a lot of people's Weird Al experience. But I remember seeing that and thinking, wow, that's so funny. I wish they'd actually do that. That was like 2011 or
and now
2012
here we
or
are.
something like that.
Yeah, that was years ago. It was a short video that was made for like Funny or Die or College Humor or one of those.
It's made that Funny or Die.
I think it was Funny or Die.
It was great.
That's the Aaron Paul one, right?
I think so.
Yes.
Yeah, and Gary Cole plays his father in the short version. Yep.
Yeah.
I discovered, of course, Weird Al is the best, and going to see him in concert is cool, the coolest, as we've discussed. and we can come back to that in a second. I figured out the best way to watch Weird Al things is with people. At the American Sci-Fi Classics Track, we did the UHF anniversary a couple of years ago, and watching UHF with a crowd of big old nerds is the best.
Yep.
And some of you were there, some of you in the chat and physically on the StreamYard were there. But if you were there in person, a wonderful friend of ours on the track made spatulas. Official
Nice.
Official Spatula City spatulas, and everybody got one, and I used mine for food in real life.
That is awesome. I think that was the same year also I saw somebody walking around in cosplay, and they were doing the Wheel of Fish.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was Susan. Brought these. Susan provided the spatulas, which were wonderful, and yeah, she had these printed for us special. These are not just regular spatulas. It's not going to show up on camera, but it says Spatula City, celebrating 30 years with American Sci-Fi Classics.
The thing is,
everybody got a spatula,
and she. This was a great day when you get. I highly recommend. First of all, Susan making you spatulas, but I also highly recommend getting a big box in the mail and you open it up and it's just spatulas. That is one of the highlights of being on the American Sci-Fi Classics Track, you guys.
We gave out official UHF sunglasses that night as well, because my friend Ken Reed from TV Guidance Counselor, he set me up with some actual promotional UHF sunglasses from back in 1989. And
the thing is,
we gave them out.
The thing about Weird Al is I feel like we have a sense of belonging or ownership, rather. The reverse of, I think we have a sense of ownership about Weird Al. I think when, because everybody can listen to pop music on the radio or whatever kind of radio, but it takes, you have to go and look for Weird Al Yankovic. They don't play, he's not in regular rotation except on the comedy radio station in Mike Faber's childhood, which I am again aghast.
WJOK.
Wow. Are you kidding me?
No.
Wow. That
is on the nose.
Yep.
The 80s on 8 Sirius XM channel will occasionally play Eat It. I've heard it on there twice. I've had the thing 5 years. I've only heard it twice, but occasionally they will play Eat It.
That Classics Track screening of UHF that we did, that was the second. I guess that was the third time I'd seen the movie in a group, because I went to the theater to see it in 1989. Then I want to say about 20 years ago or so, I was at a Weird Al fan convention event at which several friends of mine put on a Rocky Horror style production of UHF. They showed the movie and they had a full live cast acting out the movie as well, which was, and then at the end of the movie, we all received certificates for shares in the TV station in U62.
Oh, that's so good.
I do have a share in the station now. And then when UHF came out on DVD originally, Al, in the commentary track, Weird Al actually mentions that Rocky Horror performance had happened. So he was aware of the fact that we had done that.
That's just, it's for a second. Yeah, we mentioned the commentary track on that DVD because a friend of mine exposed me to that.
Yeah, it's good.
It is insane. It's almost as good as the movie because he's sitting there and just like rattling off, oh, this set was at such and such address, and this set was at, and like just
Weird
going
Al
on about
Al was prepared for that commentary track. He had
prepared.
He was not just winging it watching the movie. He had something prepared for every
does not
second.
wing anything, my friend.
Oh no.
My favorite
Except
moment
for
in
the
that
Hot Ones
commentary.
interview.
My favorite moment in the commentary on UHF is when Emo Phillips first appears on screen, and you're just listening to the commentary. Weird Al says, "Emo Phillips, I wonder whatever happened to that guy," and then you suddenly hear, "I'm right here." Like he just, as a surprise, Emo pops up in the commentary track.
That is awesome. And it's really sad because kids these days don't even know what UHF is. So
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
what are those
Well,
letters mean?
I've done my part because and we should all do our parts, but I the band director of my my daughter's high school. Well, we're close to the same age, and we're hanging out. And after one of our 8-hour-long performances, and he goes, there was this weird movie back in the '80s. Weird Al was in it, and I'm like, UHF. He goes, what? So I of course had the DVD, shared it with him and his kids. They began quoting it every time they would see me. And of course, my daughter my daughter Quinn and I just absolutely are nuts for Weird Al stuff, and took her to the most recent concert, most recent time that I've seen Weird Al, and that's another cool thing. You get to share this stuff when you were a Ute with the next generation. So the cool thing about Weird Al is that I would not say he's really ever going to go away at this point, because we all thought most people who have the one funny song, that's it.
Yeah.
And then you're like, hey, I remember that song 38 years ago, but Weird Al's still doing things, and I absolutely love that.
Waiting with bated breath for the next album, while still
you're going to be holding your breath for quite some time.
Yeah,
I'm aware.
Al is not necessarily going to do any more albums after he finished his last contract, with the record company for albums. It's because we're not really in an album world anymore.
Yeah.
And so and albums are tricky for a Weird Al, especially these days where there's no lack of comedy music being produced and comedy songs and comedy videos, and there are people cranking out videos and throwing them on YouTube. And how do you keep up? And for any new hit song that comes out, there's 24 parodies on YouTube within a week. So Al is more likely in the future to put out songs, videos, kind of a piece at a time, as he's been doing, just to kind of
well, that's what he did with the most recent album, I think, until he finally collected it all.
Yeah.
Well, but even he's already released a couple different songs singly. He did the Hamilton polka,
right?
And then he did release the song that went with the movie this last year. Now you know the story. So it's pretty awesome, the things he's doing. And I have a feeling he's going to be doing more things like that. And putting out, projects like that instead of full albums.
Let's go around the group. Is there a song, a parody by Weird Al, that you like better than the song that it's parodying? Start with James.
Putting him on the spot.
I have two, at risk of stealing someone else's, but I love, and I've got it right in my nickname, I love King of Suede, the parody of King of Pain by, is it just Sting or is it the whole Police?
That's the Police.
That's the Police. And I Want a New Duck, the parody of I Want a New Drug by Huey Lewis and the News, who I freaking love. Love those guys, but I love I Want a New Duck. When I Want a New Drug comes on the radio, I sing Duck. When Pain comes on, I sing Suede. It drives my wife crazy. She's embarrassed to be seen with me. It's a good time.
It's a good time. So, Mr. Eldridge.
I'm just flipping through albums over here trying to pick one.
Yeah.
So
It's
while
like
I'm
picking
on,
one of my favorite children. Come on.
yeah. So
Yeah.
again,
Mhm.
I just you happened to catch me when I was looking at the back of the Even Worse album. So I'm gonna go with the George Harrison parody. This song's just 6 words long.
That's a great one. That is a good one. I do like that one too.
Let's Kevin. Kyle. There's no Kevin. I just called on Kevin.
Yeah.
Usually we have like 6 Kevins.
There's a lot of us around here. Too many
There are.
lately.
Kyle.
Yeah, I've thrown a wrench into the system by bringing a K name that's not Kevin, just to throw you all off. Yeah, no, I mean honestly, it would be easier to list off the number of originals that I like better than the Weird Al songs, which is probably
Yeah,
not.
yeah.
But
We'll get to that.
oh gosh, Smells Like Nirvana is a hard one to not latch onto. Just based on who I am and what I listen to. Amish Paradise, like you gotta love it. You gotta love it. Phony Calls, there's another one.
Right.
As opposed to TLC's Waterfalls.
Right. Bart Simpson adding some vocals to that one.
Nice.
Yep. Yeah, that was a good one. And I mean, I have to give mention to Perform This Way because that's just too much fun.
Yeah. The when he did Smells Like Nirvana, he was on the Tonight Show. And at that point, it was still it wasn't so much a thing that Weird Al would show up everywhere. But he was on, and Jay Leno didn't really seem to know what was going on.
That sounds about right.
Yes. But Weird Al, by himself, did all the instrumentation in the song, including the comb and the gargling, to do the Smells Like Nirvana sound effects. And I just, had I not already been a fan, that would have done it. But
well, and the fact that, I mean, basically he had everything that Nirvana had to make that video.
yeah.
Like that is
in
the credit
same
to
location, dude.
Yeah.
What?
The same location
Yeah,
and the same cheerleaders and the same
cheerleaders,
janitor
even the
guy
same janitor.
Like,
And it had Dick Van Patten. So how bad can it be? You know?
When you throw Dick Van Patten in there.
So.
It just I mean, it just like you got some clout when you can use everything that the original band used.
Oh God!
And
yeah.
I don't know when the it's not the Behind the Music, when the Weird Al Behind the Music has stuck with me more than any Behind the Music because of just the fandom in all the celebrities that they spoke to about him. The one that sticks to my favorite comment was from Mark Mothersbaugh of Devo when he stared directly into the camera and said, "I hate him. He did Devo better than I did."
It's true.
And he's right. But just the whole the love that the other celebrities, most other celebrities, I think there are many stories, not many, there's some stories about how celebrities didn't really take to the Weird Al treatment, but
that'll go into one of my favorites too.
Yes, let's do that, Mike.
Well, of course, we have to say Amish Paradise.
Yeah.
Amish Paradise is wonderful, and has Florence Henderson in the video, which how bad can it be?
No.
And Amish Paradise is great, but you also have White and Nerdy, which I knew that song way before I had knew Driving Dirty. And
yeah,
I still don't know the original.
My son had to play that song for me. He said, "Dad, you got to hear this." It's like, this guy's doing Weird Al. But I also love Headline News, which is
Crash Test Dummies.
Crash Test Dummies.
Oh, I forgot all about that.
If you listen to that one, that is note for note the same song. Way back in the dark ages of ESO, at the end of the show, I took the time and I actually spliced the two together and actually was able to fade them in and fade them out to the T. They were note for note and everything. That's how good he did that. And then the last one I'll do real quick, of course, has to be one of his newer ones, and that's Word Crimes, which is Robin Thicke, can bite me, but Word Crimes is awesome.
Oh, it's such a good song.
It is such a great song. It's actually what got my wife into Weird Al. She despised him for many years. And my son and I, when American Pie would come on the radio, we would start singing, The Saga Begins.
Yeah.
And and she would be trying to sing over it and turn up the radio so she could hear Don McLean sing. And it was like, nope, not gonna work.
Nope.
Mm-mm.
So it's awesome. But now she loves him, which is really awesome. We've
one of
converted her.
one of our buddies in the chat room said that Flea was not happy about the Bedrock anthem. And come on.
Well, and we won't go into Kool-Aid, so
the Mike, I believe you had a story about let's do this. One of Weird Al's more recent songs is Lame Claim to Fame. So Mike, I think that's an appropriate lead in for
it is. I have to where's my legal documents? But when Earth Station 1 first started, we used the opening of Dare to Be Stupid as our theme song. And for many years, probably the first 4-5 years of the podcast, we used it until we got a nice little Leo leather in our P.O. box from Scotty Brothers Records. And I was like, oh, what's this? Scotty Records. I don't remember ordering anything from them, It's like,
I didn't order any Survivor albums from Scotty.
And it's like, wait a minute. I put two and two. They do Weird Al too. Wait a second. So I opened it and it was like, oh crap. Dear Mr. Faber, you have 90 days to stop using this our property as your theme song. You have been using it for blah 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 amount of time, and we will not come after you if you decide to stop you if you cease and desist using Dare to Be Stupid as our theme song. And basically from there on out, I've used wonderful track music from GarageBand as our theme song. So
you ceased.
I desisted. I didn't even take me 90 days. It was overnight.
Nope.
So.
Overnight,
just like that. But at least I could say I've gotten a cease and desist letter from Weird Al Yankovic. So
that's
awesome.
so great.
If I was actually one time thinking about, basically I was like thinking, go paying for one of those backstage tours they do so I can meet Al and thank him for the cease and desist letter.
There you go.
So, but I'm too cheap to do that, so it's okay.
Yeah. Kevin, you've met Al adjacent people many times?
I've met Al adjacent people many times, and I've met Dr. Demento here and there over the years. Because Dr. Demento used to play songs by my band on his show occasionally, still does once in a while.
Tell people the name of your band so they can Google it.
Yeah, my band is the Sponge Awareness Foundation, and we did have some minor hits on the Demento show over the years, going back to the 90s. And I've met Weird Al at a few different events, both at his concerts and also at a couple of other events over the years. He doesn't know me. I don't know Al. Like, he has no idea who I am, nor should he. But I know people who know Al.
Yeah.
And also Bermuda, Al's drummer, John Bermuda Schwartz, who's also kind of the historian of Weird Al. He maintains the website and the history of Al and collects all the merchandise and kind of tracks Al's whole history. I've also been in touch with Bermuda over the years for one thing or another. And they're just super great guys. And anybody who's met Al, that Al has just been so kind to his fans over the years, in that he makes sure when you meet him, he gives you his attention, and is terrific with everybody. Bermuda's great as well. So it really speaks to just what's nice guys they are, and that's probably why they've been together so long. That Weird Al has had the same band forever. He goes back to Al and Bermuda go back to the first recording of Another One Rides the Bus 40 something years ago, and the other guys have been with him almost that long. So then they're just nice guys who have been in it for the long haul. They've been playing together all these years, and they are a fantastic band.
And they could probably put up without any other band out there. Because they play so many different styles, and it's just amazing, and they do it on the fly, which is just awesome.
They can play expertly in any style. Jim West, who's Al's guitarist, he lives in Hawaii. He's lived in Hawaii for many years, and he also does Hawaiian guitar, and he won a Grammy Award a couple of years ago for his Hawaiian instrumental guitar music. So these guys are serious musicians.
And it's amazing too, because a lot of people don't realize, they all know his parody songs, but all his original songs are also parodies. A lot of people don't realize that
style parodies.
Exactly.
Those are my favorites.
They're parodies of artists and styles of music.
Yep.
And it's great trying to guess which one it is as you're listening to it. It's like, wait a minute, this is REM. Wait a minute, this is the Police. This is the B-52s, Jimmy Cliff, going through the whole list. And it's just awesome to do it.
My lame claim to fame regarding Weird Al is when he performed here in Birmingham, Alabama, we kind of went into the concert hall the back way because we didn't know any other way to go through there. And there were some ladies waiting about halfway up the pathway to get to the concert venue. And Quinn said hi, and she's cute. She's a little girl, so, and very sweet. And that was, they were just in line amongst the sea of people who were going into the concert. And this is a cool thing Weird Al does. I think at every concert, he films Tacky walking into the auditorium or the venue. And as we're watching him do that, we, and the rest of the audience realizes, hey, they're filming him right outside. And the two ladies that Quinn spoke to were the two girls in his path who give him the cold shoulder as he walks past them in his full Al Tacky getup. And I thought, I was that close to someone who was that close to Weird Al Yankovic. But
I think you would use the same girls who play the cheerleaders for Smells Like Nirvana.
Yeah,
those were probably the girls that you saw.
And it's it's interesting too, because you can go onto YouTube and you can see a collage of all the different at various tours of where he was and him doing the whole song and showing the different backgrounds and stuff where he was going through, which is awesome. And one of the cool things that he did, actually, these last two tours he did were all original songs. And for his tours, and each city that in each concert was unique. They never had a playlist that was a duplicate. And he did one cover of a song, like of a real band song, and they played the different songs, and each city was a different song. So if he did 200 cities on one tour, he did 200 different songs. And like when we saw him in Tennessee at the Caverns, he did Benny and the Jets, and he had the whole audience singing along with him and everything, which was awesome. So it's pretty cool.
Bonkers. there's so much. Tell us. Let's go around the outside of music, outside of just performances on his albums. Tell me your favorite Weird Al thing, your favorite Weird Al moment. Let's start with Kevin.
Oh, let's see. Outside
Production
of the
performance,
concerts and
outside
music
of
stuff.
just the songs.
I'll go an obscure one, and it's probably out there. I don't know if it's on YouTube or whatever, but I have not seen it since it was on TV originally. But I recall back in the 80s, there was a TV special. It might have been syndicated or something, but he made a little TV special called Weird Al's Guide to the Grammys. And it was like the week that the Grammy Awards was happening. And it's just this goofy show that just a promo thing for Al and for the Grammys. Very silly. I remember the scene I remember best was like he was showing, like demonstrating where you sit in the audience of the Grammys based on how important you are. And he was like way in the back. And if you're in Air Supply, you sit back here. And then he worked his way up until his head was all the way in the front for Bruce Springsteen. So he kind of gave a demonstration as to the seating at the Grammys. Just a silly, silly show. And I don't know that it's ever been officially released since it first aired. It's probably floating around out there somewhere.
While you were talking, YouTubed it. It's out there.
All right.
All right.
Now I have
YouTube
something
for
to
the
do
win.
when we wrap up here. We can all watch.
Yeah. Don't do it now. Wait until we're almost done, guys.
No,
We're almost done.
Joe will post it in the chat after we're done.
Yeah.
It'll be
There
fine.
you go.
That's awesome.
Kyle.
Gosh, so there's got to be a couple of them. One is he was horribly underutilized in VH1's I Love the 80s. He showed up like a couple of times, and I'm like, no, I feel cheated. We need more Weird Al and I Love the 80s for sure. But a bit more recently, he did an interview on a web show on YouTube by a channel called First We Feast, and the interview show is Hot Ones, where they bring in the guests and they eat a hot wing, and answer a question. And I mean, he's just it's so much fun to listen to some of those like deep dive questions while his like entire face is on fire from these hot wings.
And they did vegetarian hot wings. For
yes,
him too.
Yes, they were vegetarian for him.
I did a thank you, Mary, in the chat for posting the link. Cool. To the Weird Al's Guide to the Grammys.
Thank you, Mary.
At a convention last summer, I was recruited to do a Hot Ones panel, and I still haven't recovered. I blacked out, I think, a couple of times. But let's see, James.
It takes about a year for your taste buds to grow back, so it's okay.
Well, mine are not there yet. James.
Back in the mid to late 80s sometime, he did this thing on MTV called Al TV, where he took over like a pirate radio station or TV station. He took over MTV for like an hour, did a couple of them, played nothing but his videos, and did like fake interviews. Like he had an old interview with Madonna, and then it would be interspersed with him asking her the questions, and it was hilarious. I loved it. I always tuned in for those. He
would also show videos by acts that you would not normally see on MTV. He would during Al TV, he would show They Might Be Giants. He would show Mojo Nixon, Dead Milkmen. There was stuff like that I was a lot of that I was some stuff awesome. I'd see for the first time because of Al TV.
Fun fact: They Might Be Giants was my first concert.
That's a good first concert.
Mm-hmm. Nice. And I'm seeing them again in March.
Very nice. I just saw them a few weeks ago, and I've seen them a million times. One of the best shows of theirs I've ever seen was just last month. So you're in for a good time. And there is a Weird Al style. There's a style parody called "Everything You Know Is Wrong" of.
So good. Everything You Know Is Wrong.
There you
That's
go.
A good one too.
And just to pick one, he did a voice on a Disney Channel cartoon series called Gravity Falls.
Oh yeah.
There's an episode called Dungeons, Dungeons, and More Dungeons, and naturally it's a satire of Dungeons and Dragons. Hilarious. He plays a wizard called the Probabilitator, and he let's see, he summons the Ogrenado and the Impossibeast. And he's a math-related wizard, and his full name is Probabilitator Pythagoras Decimal Door, the 3.141/5. So, if you haven't seen the one episode, I highly recommend Gravity Falls, regardless.
Yeah.
But Al is great on that episode, and of course, as our friend Rick mentioned in the chat, UHF, for goodness sake.
Of course. I got one too.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. For me, I think Al's appearances in the Naked Gun movies were always awesome. Al, they're not here. Joe, they're not here to see you. Weird Al Yankovic was on that plane.
And then he just comes down off the plane doing
waving and everything. Hello. The women bring him the flowers and everything. And then in the next movie, he was at the Academy Awards and everything.
Yeah. I see a mention in the comments of because he's done a lot of cartoon voice work. He did a voice for My Little Pony. He did voice work on there's a show called Mighty Magiswords on the Cartoon Network, which some friends of mine were the creators of that show, and Al did a voice for them. And then,
of course,
remember his appearance on Batman: Brave and the Bold as himself.
Yeah.
As himself.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
And Scooby Doo, actually.
Yep.
And we can't forget his work on Robot Chicken, the full Weasel Stomping Day video on Robot Chicken, as well as various other voices.
Day.
Yes, Weasel Stomping Day.
Yes, and The Simpsons, of course. He does his Jack
Marge.
and Diane parody with the whole band on The Simpsons about Homer and Marge.
I forgot about that too. There's so much.
Yep.
Now, let's do this. Don't think about it. Don't think about it too hard. Tell me your preference. Mustache and afro, straight hair. James. Don't think too hard.
I kind of like it now. I mean, he's kind of changed his look up a little bit. I think it's cool.
All right, Kevin.
I'm just gonna go old school and say mustache and glasses, curly hair.
Sure. Kyle.
I gotta go with the new straight hair. I swear he looks weirder now than he did originally.
And Mike. Yeah, see?
Yep.
He did an episode of The Goldbergs. And had to put I'm guessing he didn't let his hair curl back up.
No.
Like I imagine it must naturally do. And I don't know that he went and grew the handlebar mustache again, but top notch. He looked like he did in the 80s on that episode. But
he's one of the first people actually I know that actually had LASIK back in during the 90s.
Oh wow, really?
That's why he stopped wearing the glasses.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was such a shocking change because it was the mustache and the glasses disappeared at the same time. Which was like mid to late 90s. So it's been about a quarter century since they made that change.
That is crazy.
He's been longer without the glasses and the mustache than he has been with it.
Yeah. So Weird Al Yankovic, that which everyone knew as the most famous comedy musician, he said, "You know what? Shoot a laser in my eyeballs and let's see what happens."
Part of the reason I did it.
Yeah.
Landing.
That's amazing.
Yep.
But you guys, we could stay here and talk all night about Weird Al Yankovic, and at some point we will. If you're watching this and you haven't celebrated or jumped into the deep end, if you will, pardon my album name drop there. If you haven't done that, do that. It's just joyful and positive and goofy as more so than anything out there. It's just absolutely nuts. There's so much Weird Al content, and I'm going to just stop now because I hate myself for using the term content. Ladies and gentlemen, tell everybody where on the interwebs you can be found, and of course, all the info that you're about to see spewing forth from the mouths of my four guests here are going to be in the show notes later. And also, starting this week with this episode, we're going to make an audio version available. So instead of just watching us with your eyeballs, forget your eyeballs. You can just listen.
You can use your ear holes.
You don't have to be afraid of that LASIK surgery anymore. If the LASIK goes horribly wrong, you can still listen to this show. So it's fine.
Thank you. Exactly.
Go ahead and do it.
And you've seen our faces. We're much prettier on air, when
don't even go to a professional. You don't even have to go to a professional anymore.
I definitely have a face for radio. I gotta say.
Find a guy in a garage that will give you LASIK surgery for like $18. You might as well, because you can listen to this show.
Well,
the high dollar there.
So the other episode of The Simpsons when Ned Flanders has had it in the show Future Scene, and he's blind. He says, "Who knew that the results of the LASIK would make your eyes pop out 5 years later?"
So, James, where can you be found on the interwebs?
I am at jamespalmerbooks.net. I'm on the Twitter at Palmer Writer. I have a Patreon page, James Palmer. I'm on Facebook. My books are on Amazon. You can find them there, and I'll be hanging out with some of you dudes at Dragon Con.
And Cotton.
If you're gonna find me anywhere, it's probably gonna be here because I hide from everyone else on the internet. But
internet ghost.
Yep, I try.
I like it.
But yeah, no, you'll find me here. If not on the panel, you'll often find me in the comments section, going full Statler and Waldorf on whatever's being discussed, especially in the upcoming Battle of the Fictional Bands, because let's face it, there is nothing finer in this life.
Thank you. We are doing that again this year, Kevin.
You can find me. It says it right there on the screen. You can find me at flopcast.net. My show is The Flopcast, a very silly weekly podcast. We talk about funny music and Weird Al and Dr. Demento, stuff like that, quite a bit on The Flopcast. I also want to point out, I don't know if it'll show up on the camera, but I've been wearing a Weird Al wristwatch this whole time.
Wow.
Which Weird Al's legs spin around to show you what time it is. So
and yes, ladies, he is that flexible.
That's why I'm always late for everything.
And Mike.
You can find me every week, actually now twice a week, at Earth Station 1. Earth Station 1 is now put out twice a week, so all even more geeky stuff coming to you every Monday and Thursday. And we got lots of great stuff coming to you. You can find us at earthstation1.com, up on YouTube, or wherever fine audio podcasts are found. You can actually find Earth Station 1. And of course, the ESO network. We are all over social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, you name it, we do it. And yet we're not proud. We just admit it right there. But it's a good thing. So definitely check us out, earthstation1.com, your station for all things geek.
And thank you. If this was your first time watching us on the American Sci-Fi Classics Track Quarantine panels, we have tons more of these out on the YouTubes. And we also are doing these. I don't know that we're going to get back super weekly, because just talking for an hour is a lot of work, guys. It's a ton of effort.
No. With my refreshing herbal tea, I think I would have been toast.
But we absolutely love getting together like this when we can't get together in person, which is since we're scattered all about the galaxy, it's difficult for us to converge into one place. But thank you for joining us tonight.
Joe, should I play us out with a song?
Do it.
This is not a actual working accordion. This is a
prop.
Weird Al replica accordion that is like
Nice.
a CD set. Yeah, so
The
I'm afraid,
devil squeeze box.
lucky for all of you, this does not make a sound. You're welcome.
Guys, thank you very much. Join us on Facebook. Look for us on YouTube. Just search for American Sci-Fi Classics, and you will find us there. You will find me here. I'm just going to sit here and wait on you guys to come back in about a week or so, or two. And thank you again. That's all I got, ladies and gentlemen. James, Kevin, Kyle, Mike. We love you guys. Everybody stay safe. Get your colonoscopies. And we will see you. In fact, get them tomorrow. Go ahead and get one tomorrow.
And Joe will be there to film it. It'll be perfect.
Yes, I will. And we will see you guys very, very soon. Thank you. Nice.